Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Chess DNA. And in today's video, I'm going to be sharing a very interesting attacking idea that I just used myself with black pieces in my game against a very strong, highly rated opponent from Italy here. So the game starts out with e4 and I played e5, knight f3, and my choice is usually not to go for knight c6, but to play knight f6, the Petrov defense, which is also my recommendation with black pieces against one e4. And my opponent goes for one of the main lines against the Petrov with d4, but here you can notice that the e4 pawn is left hanging. So you just grab that pawn and your opponent grabs a pawn on e5. So this is mainline theory. Here I played d5, another theoretical move. You strike in the center, supporting the knight on e4. An opponent here went for a sideline, which is a move that I'm not so familiar with. Usually I face bishop d3 here, which is a common move. Knight bd2 is the best move though, but bishop d3 is like one of the moves that I face most commonly. Also, e takes d6 is a very common move, en passant, where I would just capture back with a bishop, and I would be happy with that position. Black already equalizes out there. But here, knight b d2 is played by my opponent, and the theory goes on, knight takes on d2, bishop takes d2, and I placed my bishop actively on c5 square. The best move is to place the bishop on e7, a rather more solid move, and you castle. But I thought that here bishop is doing great on c5. As you will see in the game, it did play a vital role because it does take an aim on that f2 square, which is the weakest square in the enemy territory. You're only guarded by the king. So bishop on c5 is a nice active move in this position. Bishop d3, and opponent now also places their bishop actively aiming at the h7 pawn. If black castles, then this is going to be a problem for black to defend against some kind of Greek gift sacrifices, for example. I mean, not immediately, but at some point it is always threatening that bishop could take on h7, king takes, knight g5 check. I mean, I would have been scared of that if that happened in the game. Knight g5 check, but important thing is that king g8, queen h5 is not leading to mate because you have bishop f5 in that position and you guard against the h7 square, and the queen is not able to get to h7. Although it's a rapid game in 10-0, and important advice for everyone is that when you're playing a 10-0 game, it is a pretty fast game. You don't want to be allowing your opponent an attack, and you want to be defending, because then if you slip up even a little bit, let's say you slip up, you allow your opponent a checkmating attack, and you just have to waste a lot of time thinking about the correct moves. Knight c6, just developing, keeping the options flexible for myself. I might go bishop g4, queen d7, and long castle and attack my opponent on the king side here. So this is what I'm aiming for. He does castles short, and I play bishop g4, and here he plays h3. So here I want to introduce you to this attacking idea that you can use in situations when black has not castled. Let's say your king is still in the center. You have not castled. You have played bishop g4, pinning the knight down, and you're threatening some sort of knight d4. An opponent goes h3. The best move, by the way, is just to drop the bishop back to h5, and you keep the pressure on the knight. If they go g4, you just drop the bishop back to g6, and you don't mind bishop takes g6, h takes g6, opening of the h file, because you want to play queen d7, castle long, and attack your opponent as they have significantly weakened their king side by moving these pawns in front of their king. So this is how you should play. But in blitz games, and in rapid, especially online rapid, when it is 10-0, no increment, you want to be playing moves that put your opponent in pressure. Like, they drain their time a lot thinking, they get nervous, some attacking moves. So the move that I'm talking about, the idea is to play h5 in this position, which is given a double question mark by the computer. Of course, objectively, it's not correct because I'm just losing a piece, that's for sure. But opponent needs to be finding some very, very accurate moves here to punish me. And if it's a classical game, they would just calculate everything out and just punish me, and I would just lose the game. Because if you take, which is what happened in the game, if you don't take, like, you can still, white is still better after something such as c3. They're doing pretty fine. I mean, the bishop is still hanging. If I just choose to drop the bishop back, I've played h5, weakening my king side, and g5 square is weak. The knight could just land there soon. So, I mean, this is still good for white if they just choose not to accept the bishop. But the best move is to take the bishop, by the way. And my idea is to take the pawn back, hitting the knight. And usually I mean, if the knight goes to h2, then there is queen h4 hitting the knight. But here, my opponent has knight to g5, trying to block the queen's access to the h4 square. And suddenly, white is just doing all great, except for one little fact that my opponent needs to find all the precise moves here. Knight takes e5, and the situation still looks very scary for black because the e file, the king is still a couple of moves away to castle long. The knight is on the e file, it could get pinned, but here he goes rook e1, pinning down my knight. I still can't take his knight because it is guarded by the bishop. But queen to f6, and now suddenly I have my own threats. I'm hitting on f2, and for example, if you just ignore that, it's even a mate because the rook is excellently controlling all the open h file, and I'm threatening a checkmate on f2 here. So my opponent here decided to play the move queen to e2, which is a mistake. The best move, this is why. He needs to find all the moves precisely, and the best move, in fact, the only move that is winning for white is to give up the rook for the knight. And once you do that, you, lose the exchange, but now you have two pieces for the rook because I sacked one piece already. And now you're supposed to play the move queen takes g4 and allow queen takes queen h2 check. And king f1, queen h1 check, king e2, and white is just losing a lot of material here, but now the queen is offside. And all the white pieces are ready to attack the black king, which is not able to castle long as queen controls that square on c8. And in this position, white could go something such as queen to f5 and threaten a mate on multiple squares here. If you castle, then the queen h7 is mate. So f7 is weak, so you have to just guard it. But then knight e6 is coming with a fork on these pieces, and white is just having a strong attack in this position. So this is what he has to see. This is what he has to see when he accepts the sacrifice. Plenty of moves deep, 8 to 10 moves deep, which they don't have enough time for because it's a 10-minute game. They will have to trust themselves, make moves instinctively, and moves like these are big mistakes. Queen e2. Because my pieces are so active now, the rook is so active, controlling the entire h file, bishop looking at f2. I'm trying to look for some tactics here, but first it's really important to castle long and get the king to safety. A lot of times, here, there is a tactic, bishop takes f2. If you take with the queen, then rook to h1, check, deflection tactic, winning the queen, but rook takes knight in the end of the line comes with a check, and I have to move my king away, and then suddenly, rook takes d5 check, and all these pieces are too strong against my lone queen. So it's really important to just first castle, and my opponent here missed the whole idea. He went b4, going for some counterattack on the queen side. He expects me to play bishop b6 and then a4, a5, and just he has an attack, and he thinks he's winning. But now bishop takes f2 check is just winning. And how do we see these tactics? It's just that we have to first of all notice the situation that if we take, check captures threat for obvious method, you just take on f2, queen takes, and you could just deflect the king away. Pretty easy tactic to see here. So I played that, and he's got no moves. If he goes king f1, then rook to h1 is mate. So he has to accept that. Now rook h1 check, king takes, and I win the queen. Now the point is that rook takes e5 does not come with a check, and if he takes that knight, then I can even fork the pieces. I can go queen h4 check. So many ideas. Bishop is hanging also, so it's winning for black. He played rook e2, and now I just played rook h8 check. He blocked with the bishop, but now I think I could have taken the rook, which was fine, but I went for this beautiful idea, double exclamation move, rook takes h7, a check, and he grabbed with the knight, and now queen to h4 check, king to g1, and now g3 check. Not check, but threatening checkmate here, because if he just, let's say, does nothing, then check and ends up in a mate. So, after g3, he grabbed my knight, creating a square for the king to just escape. But now I give queen to d4 check and fork the rooks. So he just loses a rook, and then another check, winning the knight. Now just sweeping the floor. This is all about technique now, so I won't talk too much about it. Now just giving up my queen for the bishop because I make another one, and then giving up my queen for the rook because it's a winning king and pawn endgame. And then I don't know how to checkmate with so many pawns, so I just usually make a lot of queens, especially when my opponent is not resigning, wait for them to resign. And in the end, he resigns, but the point of this video is to show you guys in rapid chess, in 10-0 especially. I mean, don't follow this advice for classical chess. I mean, if it's an idea, it's a sequence of precise moves that is 8 to 10 moves long. In classical chess, your opponent has that time and they will calculate it out and punish you for making unsound sacrifices. But in rapid chess, especially in blitz chess and rapid 10-0 without increment, you just have to attack. If it's an unsound sacrifice, but it requires your opponent to have, find a 8 to 10 move sequence precisely to punish you, the chances are they won't be able to do so. If they slip up, then you get the attacking idea working for you. So I hope you guys enjoyed and learned from this video. Don't forget to subscribe to Chess DNA and like this video, and I will be coming back with more of these lessons for you guys. See you in the next video.